Hello. Guess we can get this stream started now, right? Um, See, everything is working as it should. I can see the stream running. Awesome. Um, cool. Well, welcome to this. This is the third stream in a row. I am on a roll, which is good. Welcome to the stream about AWS Cloud9 and Lambda. So what we're going to try to do today is kind of play around with Cloud9 and see what we can do with Lambdas and see what Cloud9 can do as well. I've done previous two streams last week on the topic of CDK and CloudFormation. This week, I'm probably going to focus a bit more on developer tools. So the goal for today is to maybe do something with Cloud9 and Lambdas. And I think on Friday, I will be running a stream that I will be focusing on trying to build a CI/CD pipeline with AWS code tools. So this should be fun. For you, who do not know me, my name is Darko. I'm a developer advocate at AWS, and my focus is kind of around developer tools, management tools, anything to do with infrastructure. So I think the stream will last roughly an hour. Of course, there will be a recording, so if you have to drop off, feel free to. Feel free to post your questions in chat. I would be happy to answer them if I can. And yeah, so let's kick it off. So what am I trying to do here? So I've heard that you can use Cloud9 to work with Lambda functions. And working with Lambda functions, especially if you do work with them locally, can be complex, right? So unless you're using something like SAM, writing a Lambda function locally and then debugging it can sometimes be a problem, right? So Cloud9 apparently has the ability to, help you create Lambda functions or everything around it and actually debug them within Cloud9. Now, what is Cloud9? I keep talking about Cloud9. And Cloud9 is a browser-based IDE, so integrated development environment. Yeah, I know it is browser-based. It doesn't suck. I'm a big user of Vim. But on occasion, Cloud9 has helped me so much by giving me the ability to switch development from my laptop to my desktop to even a tablet if I want. Makes my life easier sometimes. It comes pre-packaged with a whole bunch of things, and for me it has Vim key support, so I can treat it as Vim in the browser. It's a pretty neat tool. I like using it. It comes with all the bells and whistles you want. It takes your IAM user and takes its permissions to kind of emulate them on the cloud, which is I think very, very neat. So yeah, let's kick it off with that. And I think we can start by first of all we need to create Cloud9, right? So going to Cloud9 here. Okay, let's create an environment. Now, simply put, Cloud9 actually runs in an EC2 instance within your AWS account, so it's not something magical in the black box of the cloud. It literally provisions an EC2 instance within your environment, and you run off it. It runs this Cloud9 piece of software on itself, a whole bunch of things. Let's give it a name. Stream Cloud9. Well, that's very unique. This is a description because they're hard. Now, basically, what it can do is to create an EC2 instance for you here. Right? You see here, it can create an EC2 instance, but you can also deploy Cloud9 to your own EC2 instances through SSH. So if you have a requirement for running your own EC2 instance via SSH, this is to running your own Cloud9 on your EC2 instance. This is a possibility. I'll just create a new instance and check this. And there's a couple of instance types that you can pick. I mean, there's a whole list you can choose from, right? I mean, if you want, you can do like the really big ones, which makes sense if you want to do some massive testing and development and whatnot. So I'm gonna stick to a T3 small instance. Just gives me the basic necessities I need. I'm gonna choose Amazon Linux, but you can pick between Ubuntu server and Amazon Linux. So as of now, I believe that at some point you're able to make changes to this. I'm not sure. Maybe through the API. I would really have to have a look at that. Now, of course, it creates a role, but this is something I like. It has cost savings because we don't use our IDEs all day, 24 hours, unless if you have that kind of a job, I'm sorry. But let's say you use it for a while. What it does, it goes into basically hibernates your instance it just basically puts your instance hibernation. Everything you worked on just gets snapshotted and sits there. It shuts down. Next time you trigger a launch of your Cloud9 instance, it just pops up magically and you have it all there. So it helps you save money so you don't spend a lot on Cloud9. Additional, some networking settings if you want to have it in a specific VPC, and absolutely tagging. Next step, nothing here, just a review of what we've done so far. Nothing too special. This is very important. Back up your code, right? Cloud9 does not do that for you. Cloud9 does not manage these things for you. Make sure you keep your code in a code repository if you're doing something, production grade or something that actually brings value. Also, you need to actually update Cloud9 from time to time as well. So take these things into account in this little blue box if you want to do this. Okay, create an environment. Pretty cool. So it's creating now. It takes a couple of minutes. Basically what it does, it actually launches an EC2 instance inside of your cloud. Takes a couple of minutes. It sets up the entire thing for you, and it's gonna look all nice, like we have it here in the cloud. Now I have them pre-created, but I'm just gonna use this one that I'm creating right now. It's just to kind of stay true to my word. Okay. It takes a moment, unless it fails. I have not checked my limits. Will limits cause a problem? I hope not. Let's have a look. Let's actually have a look at the console. If I go back to EC2, there should be a Cloud9 EC2 instance showing up somewhere. So Cloud9, yeah. So we have one instance here. It's the 3.3 small. This should show up. Yeah. But this is not that one. This is my old one. Let's just give it a moment, because it's actually provisioning a CloudFormation template. So if we would go to CloudFormation, we would be able to see the CloudFormation template of this. There you go. So it's actually creating everything that's needed, right, from security groups to instances for this Cloud9 environment. By the way, the actual resume from hibernation is much faster than you think. If you have a look here, what we've seen, and I've showed you that I have a bunch of Cloud9 instances. You see, this one's interesting. Like this one is one that's stopped, right? I have used it some time ago, but if I would trigger it right now to bring it back up, it would take maybe a couple of minutes for it to jolt. And okay, it's connecting. So again, what it's gonna do now, you can actually see a bunch of things in this. Oh no, it's not gonna do it here. Okay, cool. So it actually now is configuring the instance. It's installing all the packages it needs, because there's a whole bunch of things installed here, right? So, from AWS CLI, it should be installed as well to, I think, RVM as well, right? PHP is installed, I think. Yeah. NPM. Yeah, all the different kinds of tools that we might need here are installed, so we can have some fun. So now we can get started. We have an ID here, but I think I'm gonna zoom in a bit because this might be a bit too small. Now, because this is in the browser, I can just zoom the standard browser way. And as you can see here, it's a Linux machine. So I have a terminal here, right? I can, htop it. Oh, there's no htop. Sudo yum install htop. So it's an Amazon Linux machine that I can have direct console access to like this, right? So this all works. Nope, escape, quit. But it also gives me my full-on ID, right? So I have my environment here, I have my text editor here. Now, I believe because I've been using this before, it has saved settings that I've used. I use this dark theme and I use Vim as a key scheme binding. But you can absolutely change this to suit whatever you would like, right? There's a couple of other options. I'm not going to go into that, but there's different things you can set up here on Cloud9 when it comes to preferences. Like there's a whole lot of stuff, from JavaScript support to some code completion libraries, warnings with these linters, etc., etc. But let's do what we started here to do, right? So we want to create a Lambda function, right? We want to create a Lambda function that we can debug, deploy, and work with, or we can operate our Lambda function through Cloud9. So how does one do that? I mentioned before that that Cloud9 takes your user permissions. So I'm currently logged in as myself, as my IAM user, as Darko. And if I do AWS S3 LS, I should be able to list all the buckets I have on AWS, right? But with the same thing, I can also have a look at some resources within AWS. And those resources, in this case, are Lambda functions. It shows me all my existing Lambda functions within this account in this region. But I'm not going to bother with those. I'm going to create a new one, right? So I'm going to be using some sample code here. So I have not invented this code. So you don't want to spend time to look at me typing a whole lot of Node.js or JavaScript. So click that, give the function a name. Let's be creative. This is a stream function. So I'll give a function a name, but I also give an application a name. Application, because it creates both, right? Click the next. And also, out of the box, it has support for a couple of runtimes. It doesn't support all of this, all of the Lambda or all the Lambda runtimes directly from Cloud9, but it supports this because of the debugging features, etc., etc. I'll make sure to pick Node 12. I'll select an empty blueprint because I don't want to do any of these. I want to do my own. Function triggers. I'm going to use API Gateway as a function trigger, and it will actually provision an API Gateway for me. The source path will be root. So basically, this is on what part of the API Gateway, on which path of the API Gateway, once you trigger it, will invoke this Lambda script. An API Gateway, for you who do not know, is just it's an API Gateway. It's a fully managed API Gateway in the cloud that basically does something if you hit one of its endpoints or one of its resource paths. In this case, the API Gateway will trigger our Lambda function. I'm not going to use any security here because security, right? So I'm going to just use none. Memory, this is fine. And I'm going to actually automatically generate the role for my Lambda function here. The memory is the actual memory, giving it to a Lambda function. So I'm just going to click next. Research path, awesome, this is it. So it creates all of these things. Now because of the zoom, it's actually, you can see memory size in this little black box, but yeah, click finish. All browsers and zooming. And that's it. So it has actually created, if you see here, it creates this application or this Lambda application with the Lambda function here, right? And it creates all the things that we need from the actual Lambda code to even the template. So it uses, let me just close this down. It uses, serverless transformations in CloudFormation, or basically SAM, to create a function and set up permissions and create the API gateways. So it does all of this for you. And if I would have a look here now, I believe if I go to CloudFormation, there should be yes. So it actually is currently creating all of those resources in the cloud through CloudFormation, right? So pretty cool. Yeah, it's a really neat way to get started right this. Okay, going back, let's have some fun, right? Let's add some code here. Now I have some piece of code here that I'm gonna copy and paste. I'm gonna shamelessly do that. Delete all of this. See, Vim commands, right? So if I do this and then dd, whoa, awesome. So now, what does this Lambda function do? It's not too important, but in essence, this Lambda function takes basically, it takes an event, it takes a JSON body event, and based off what you give it, it will give you the date or the time when you say. So if you pass it an object with an option called date, and like for example, if you pass it yesterday or tomorrow, it will give you what date it was yesterday or tomorrow, or if you do it now, it will give you the date that is right now, or anything like that. So if you pass it the time, it does the same thing, right? So it's nothing too magical. Again, it's just some really neat hello world lambda application, which I shamelessly took off the Amazon documentation. It also handles some errors, so it will throw some things out. So yeah. But let's see. Okay, we have written my Lambda function. How can I work with it right now? Let's test this Lambda function. If you go to the AWS resources and clickety on the run, I can run the Lambda function in local mode. So click here. Now, because this is a Lambda function, let me I don't need this right now. Because this is a Lambda function, I need to pass it on some parameters, right? Or basically some payload. I mentioned that I need to pass it on some data or payload, or what is it gonna actually run. So if I go here and add this, so let's do this. It takes an option. And that option, I will give it the date, right? So I want the Lambda function to return me a date. For which period? I want today. Awesome. So this now, hopefully, will execute this Lambda function locally. So, no, not that mouse. This one. And awesome. So we have a response from a Lambda function that says, hey, this data code is 200. Here's the header of the Lambda function, and the body is the 3rd month, the 17th day of the year 2020. So basically March 17th, 2020. Simple as that, right? So it returned the same way I would test it anywhere locally, but it gives me a super simple way to do it straight from here, right, from the browser, from the text, the editor here, which is pretty neat, right? When I started working with Lambdas, I spent many an all time trying to figure out, I write myself a Lambda script, I upload it or push it through CloudFormation, even before Lambdas had the editor built in, and then like, okay, it fails, okay, what did I do wrong, and then make a change and testing it like this locally. I mean, all of this can be done with SAM, right? With Amazon Serverless Application Model or SAM Local. And to be fair, this is using SAM Local or at least a variant of it as well. I believe you can actually check that if you run htop, you will see a SAM CLI being triggered. But yes, it's a all-in-one package that can help you get all that stuff there. But debugging is not just doing this, right? We can try other things, like I can, tomorrow, right? It should throw something back, hopefully. Yeah, 18th. If I remove everything, I think it should return back today, the current date, right? No, I need to specify. Okay, I need to specify these things. I forgot my application. If I can also the option, I have an option called time. I can do time, and this should return the current time. It's 14 hours, 20 minutes, and 12 seconds UTC. Not my local time. My local time is, well, 3:20. Cool. So even if I like break things, like if I do like times, it should be able to show me. But again, this is all a part of the Lambda function, not of Cloud9. But it's a really neat way to kind of do a bunch of tests here and see how it all works. Let me just go back to date and then the period today. And I need to put a comma here. Okay, cool. This works now. Cool. So when it comes to debugging, in a traditional sense, it's not just about seeing it run and see if it will run. There's a lot of different things we can do here, right? So we can work with such things as do proper debugging, like having watch expressions, right? Or having breakpoints in the debugger in our Lambda code, which can be pretty neat. So this is all possible through Cloud9 because it has a debugger built in. At least it works for Node.js and Python 3.6, I believe. So the debugger here, if you have a look, I have two mice on my desk and I get confused. So you can actually watch some expressions. You can have some look into breakpoints and local variables. And actually, let's do this. So in this script on line 62, I have a callback, right? And I have created a breakpoint here on callback, and I want to watch some expressions. I want to get some values out of my code, and what you can do here is just add them here. So I will add the values, event dot option. Oops. Event dot period, and I will do SC, which is the status code, right? So it should be 200, and I will do response body. So now these expressions will be watched by my debugger. If I go here and click this little bug icon, it will actually enable debugging, right? So hopefully, if I click this little run button here, I should get something. So awesome. So you can see here that the execution has been paused, right? So, I mean, of course, this is a super simple Lambda function, but it is actually paused. So if you click on callback, callback, if I go here, and I will be able to see like what is the response. I can see the object, the status code, the body, the content type. I can see some different things here, right, that exist as part of this. And on the watch expressions, I can see, I wanted to see event.option, date, today, service, not service code, status code, yes, status code. Status code is that, right? If I have a look at option, date, see, period, it's today. So all of these different things, I can have a look here. What did we actually achieve, right? So pretty cool, right? You can see all the local variables set here. So it gives you a lot more debugging options when it comes to Lambda functions on AWS through an IDE like this. So if I want to continue execution, I think this should be, that's it. Now my function has been, my Lambda function has been executed. Again, just return something. But it was able to return all this information to me through the means of the debugger. And like, if you want to have a response, you will see the entire response body on this side. Let's disable debugging for now. And let's actually try to, I mentioned here that we also get an API gateway. What we can also do here is test API gateway or make a local test of an API gateway as well. So on this testing screen, or if I close this and I go to AWS resources, right click this thing, and I can run API gateway local. So what this will do, it will actually, simulate a local API gateway. I will use the post method. See, this sometimes freaks out. I need to, now I have to refresh. If I go back here to post, yes. So I need to again give it some give it a body here. Let me just find if I can copy paste this little piece of code, so I don't have to type out this. So I will be using the post method to this Lambda function. So I'm not posting it directly to the Lambda function, but I'm now going through the API gateway, and I'm passing it this payload or a body. Click run. That's it. It works, right? So we can see the response, we can see response headers, and we can also see HTTP logs, right? So the HTTP logs for the API gateway. So pretty cool, right? So we have not just invoked the Lambda function here, but we have tested the API gateway as well. So it gives us this advanced functionality on this. We can do the same thing as before, right? Again, we can change all of these things, and it should all work. Again, this in essence, I believe this uses SAM CLI. Yesterday, let's see, yesterday. It uses SAM CLI, so it actually provisions all the stuff underneath that's required for this thing to function. And even with this, if I set like a breakpoint here, and I do debugging, I should be able to, let me have a look here. If I do this, no, I need to come here, disable it, enable it. Oh, will this work? Enable debugging and run this. No, for some reason this didn't work. This should work, but I've seen this being on and off sometimes. But okay. Again, you would test these. You wouldn't do like breakpoint testing within API gateway because it doesn't make a lot of sense. You would do this through just testing the Lambda script. Okay, now that we have successfully tested our Lambda function, let's do the big thing. Let's do the big boy thing and deploy our Lambda function. Well, what you can do here is just go straight here, right? Click and run deploy, and this will actually, you can see here, deploying this Lambda function to this region, right? And in essence, what it will do, it will create a Lambda function on, well, in this region that you're working on. So I should be able to see it here. Yes, so it has been last modified 6 seconds ago, and this Lambda function is now present here. I have deployed it with all the things that it needs, right? So it's all here. All the stuff that it requires goes along with it. And what I can do also now is, instead of just testing it locally, I can test this Lambda function remotely. So I can run it remotely, which again, the same thing, run test payload. Now this is not running a Lambda function on Cloud9, but it's actually running the Lambda function within AWS. So we should be able to see this execution somewhere in the monitoring part here. Well, it doesn't see any data found, but yeah. Eventual consistency, right? So in general, I hope it deploys the Lambda function there. And now that the Lambda function is deployed, we can also test the API gateway and actually run API gateway remote test. So what this will do is the same thing as we did before locally, but we can now basically trigger this, and you will get the full-on execution of this Lambda function through the actual remote API gateway, not just the one sitting locally. As you can see here, there's an actually endpoint request, and you have much more details in this HTTP log execution than you had in before. So that's kind of like the simplest way we can do Lambda function debugging. Again, you can expand all of this, like, by tinkering with your template, by adding things here, modifying it. Again, when you deploy it, it kind of goes around with this. You can actually deploy all of these things through CloudFormation, with the AWS CLI through this. So I find it pretty cool, pretty neat to have this one unified development environment across, well, everything. So let's have a look at some other things, right? So we have this working, right? It was relatively painless. I think it's super simple for people to try it out. But let's have a look at some other things, such as what can we do? Oh, I know. So welcome to the Corona-19 or a COVID-19 situation, and we all work from home, right? So there's a feature in Cloud9 that can actually help you a lot in these situations. It can help you be more productive with your colleagues and friends and work from home. I heard that there's this collaboration aspect of Cloud9. Now, what you can do is basically you can invite IAM users within your AWS account to join your environment, right? They will join your Cloud9 environment, and they will be able to code with you. They can do like pair programming. You can have actually, you know what? Let's do this. I think I have a user somewhere in my AWS account that I can play around with. Like this. If I go to IAM, I should have a bunch of users here that are okay. So I have a user called Grunf. The thing I'm gonna be doing here, I'm gonna add some permissions to Grunf for him to have access to Cloud9. Now, how to give them access to Cloud9? Well, you just find something called Cloud9 here because it's IAM. So now I am not sure, but I believe one of these two should be the one. Environment member for sure. You know what? Let's just do this. I'll give him. He's not an administrator, but I'll give him the access to these policies. Now this user basically has no other access but to Cloud9, and this person does not need to access any other AWS resources but the ones on Cloud9. I believe, yes, I have signed in today with him, so I know the password. So let's add Grunf, right? So I want to add my buddy Grunf to work on this piece of code with me because he apparently knows something better. So let's do this. What I do here is Grunf, and I will give Grunf read-write access. I can change it just to read. So if you want to get your manager on or somebody who just wants to observe what you do, you can have read access as well. So I'll just read-write and click invite. Yeah, this can be a risk. Okay, cool. Environment member has been added. So what I do right now is I just take this little link, copy it, and just give it on to my buddy Grunf, which I am gonna give in this console. Just look at that. No, not that button, like that. Let's connect to my account. And super secret password, right? Awesome. Now Grunf doesn't have access to anything here, but I can just paste him this link, and he should be able to get to Cloud9 immediately, right? So he has the permission to just jump in to Cloud9. And you can see here that I'm present and Grunf is also present. So if I would switch to here, I would also be able to see, hey, Grunf is online and myself as well here. So let me hide myself. So you can see here that we have a chat window. I'll say, hey, buddy, glad you can help. So Grunf in himself, well, absolutely will get this little message here. Yeah, you know. Now, one of the things that are pretty cool for me is like I have this code here, and I'm kind of bothered by, I want to change this string today or tomorrow to something else, right? I'm here editing a bit of code. Now Grumpf can also come here and open that same file, and you know what he will be able to see here is he will be able to see Darko is editing this, right? So Darko is currently here running or editing, making some changes to this piece of code. And to actually demonstrate this a bit more, let me try to do some window magic here and move this and that. So if Darko, right, in this case, right, I come here, you can see the cursor moving on the Grumpf side. If I come here and change the word to maybe tomorrow, right? Grumpf will actually see that change happen in real time. So that person is able to, you know, kind of do pair programming. And if Grumpf wants to change something on his end, I will, as Darko, I will see that this is Grumpf's cursor right now, and he's able to make some potential changes, right? So pretty cool. No, don't break stuff. Grumpf, Control C. See, this can be a problem. So tomorrow. Now, one thing you can also do, which is pretty cool, like let's say, let me open this up and I go here. Let's say I had enough with Grumpf. Like, you know what, he helped, but he's not too big of a help. He keeps, you know, spurting some things that are not super interesting. Let's remove access from him. I want him to still, you know, be able to contribute or give his comments or at least have a look at what I'm doing. I can just read write. It will update Grumpf's permissions to read only. So if I would switch to Grumpf's window, it automatically prompted him, hey, your permissions have changed. Let's just refresh things. So, hello, Bokyo. I see somebody chat. So Grumpf now has a preview. Basically, what he can do is just look at code. So even if he wants to make some changes, he wanted to break something, I would just, doesn't work. No, he cannot make changes. He can see the chat, he can collaborate, you know, he can you know, see the outline of the code, etc., but he cannot, you know, do anything, you know. Give me access. Yeah, so again, it all works, but no. But that person can only read only access, and you can do this, you know, at scale, more people, etc., etc. I think it's a perfect opportunity to have a kind of a if you have to work together on a piece of code, this could be a really nice way to kind of collaborate on a piece of tool. And if I would, like, for example, if Grumpf would leave, so let me just attempt this. If Grumpf leaves, I should get a notification in a couple of seconds that Grumpf went offline. So you can see that a certain person is not anymore connected to this current working environment. You see, it has left, but sometimes, and there you go. So you saw it for a second there. Grumpf went online, a little pop-up. Pretty neat. Okay, let me just bring back this gentleman to this, because I want to show you one more thing there. Cognito. Paste. You can just paste this link here, and the person will get the notification. Hey, just log in. Super secret password. Again, I will not go into details on what amazing things Cloud9 can do, but you know, maybe some other time. If there's a request, I can do a bit more deep dive into Cloud9 and maybe answer some questions. Oh, hello from Macedonian quarantine. Hello. Yes, welcome. Hello from the German quarantine. So One of the things you can do here is like if I'm Groove here, I want to see what Darko is working on, right? Let's say I'm Darko's manager. I want to see what file does he have open. Like I can see that he has this template file open, this JavaScript file, and the terminal is also open at that person. So you're able to kind of see where is that person, or actually what is that person doing right now. If I go to show location, it will actually open the file where that person is currently looking at. So if Darko would be looking at some other, well, Darko is looking at this, but if Darko was looking at, for example, this Lambda payload JSON file, switch back to Groove, and I'm like, oh, so what is this person doing again? It's that person is looking at this Lambda payload file. So yeah. Cool. Well, kind of that's all the thing I wanted to talk about. Oh yes, people ask me this. So how much money, right? So how much does this cost? Well, in essence, it costs as much as an EC2 instance you're running on it. So there's no extra cost to it. There's the cost of a running EC2 instance, and that's all it, right? So depending on which instance type you choose, and also the cost saving method where you have the options to, specify, hey, I will only have it, if it goes offline for 30 minutes, just shut it down. It will also save you money. So technically, if you run it for 8 hours a day per month, it should cost you, well, depending on instance size, but little to no money. And I'm sure this could be a pretty useful thing for a lot of folks. So a question came in chat, not related to this, but I want to set up CloudFront for EC2 instance. Whenever I create a load balancer, target group is unhealthy, even if I'd add the directory path. Can the load balancer access your EC2 instance? That's the thing, because sometimes load balancers use different, make sure you allow traffic from a load balancer to come through your EC2 instance. This is done through security groups. So that's a very important thing, that you allow port 80 or whichever port you run your health check on. If it's just a TCP health check or a target path health check, make sure that the security group, that the load balancer or the load balancer security group has permissions to that EC2 instance. So that's kind of an easy way to do that. Awesome. Well, that took 45 minutes. It's shorter than I thought. It's a relatively simple topic, but I'm very much open to talk about these things. If you have suggestions for upcoming streams, so the goal is to do 2 streams a week. So it's going to be usually on Tuesdays and Fridays. I might actually move it up an hour so that I can kind of I can reach the US audience as well, because Pacific time, I think this is 7 a.m. or 7:45 a.m., which is pretty early. So I can reach them as well. So I might move it up an hour or so. Also, I will be running one this Friday, not Thursday, because there's an event. There's an AWS Online Innovate event on Thursday, so make sure to check it out. Yeah, so security groups are the same for both EC2 instance and load balancer. Well, you know what, Moita, can you reach out to me directly after this stream, and we can have a look at it. Maybe I can help you troubleshoot it. To be fair, there could be a number of things that could be wrong here, but CloudFront comes. You have not even reached CloudFront right now. Make sure to set up your load balancer first. But again, let's chat off stream for this, as I don't want to hog the stream time. So again, thank you very much. It has been my pleasure to talk to you about Cloud9. Any Cloud9 related questions or any, AWS related questions, please feel free to reach out to me via any social media, Twitter, Twitch, whatever Messenger, Pigeon if you want. Also, these videos will be available on Twitch as recordings, and these videos will be available also on YouTube, because Twitch deletes them after a while. So, whatever, smash that like button or whatever people do. So thank you very much for joining. I will see you on Friday. Oh yes, the topic for Friday is building your building your first CI/CD pipeline on AWS. So this is where we will go through building your CI/CD pipelines with code tools such as code pipeline, code build, code deploy, code commit, and all the other bells and whistles out there, right? Thank you once again, and I will be seeing you, well, in 3 days. Bye bye.